The thing is, it's not coming out. I can't hear your voice in my earphones.
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you through the computer, but not through the earphones. Wonder why
Yeah,
that is.
the headphones might not be working, but I'll just start and see.
Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now today I've got a very special guest. I'm joined by Andy to chat a bit about the Newcastle game, just to have a general Arsenal chatter. And I did get some of your questions on Instagram and on Twitter to answer. And I'm sure you guys will ask us some questions on here anyway. But thank you, Andy, for coming on today. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thanks, Soph. Nice to see you, and thank you so much for having me on your show. I follow you, and I think you're one of the female presenters that, together with your good friend Laura Woods, I always enjoy listening to, and I think you're doing very well with how you're getting on with things. So, excellent to be on the show. Thank you.
Oh no, I'm really happy to have you on here, and I did want to start off by talking a bit about the Newcastle game, to briefly, just discuss it, because in the midweek game against Porto, we really needed to win against Newcastle. For me, what are your thoughts on our performance and the result regarding the league and winning it?
The game on Saturday was
Yeah.
I just thought we were on fire. So I think we spoke about it on a previous podcast on John Sinclair's, and I just think that we were amazing. I thought our football from the very start, from the kickoff, was great to watch. I just thought we were at them straight away. We didn't give them we didn't give them any space to really breathe. First half, I thought we were brilliant. I thought Havertz was on fire, and Jorginho running through the midfield was great as well. And we spoke, didn't we, both of us, about how good Jorginho's made that midfield, and we actually did say we'd like to see him in the midfield for Saturday's game. So our thoughts came true. But yeah, I thought we played very, very well.
Yeah, I was really happy with that performance. I think it was such a dominant one from Arsenal, and it did surprise me how well we did, and I did expect us to win, but not by 4 goals. I was surprised, but in a good way, really.
Yeah, I think we as you say, to win by 4 goals, to get the 4 goals was extraordinary. I think we did see Newcastle. I didn't think they knew how to sort of approach us. I think we had such a good game plan. I just feel that they were a little bit of ones and twos with a lot of the way they were playing. I thought the defence was shuddering quite a bit. Listen, we got off to a bit of a lucky start with the first goal, but I think I was very surprised to see it being so dominant. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to read some questions from people's comments as well. Big up both of you. Hope you're well. Only Arsenal are saving London at the moment. Obviously, Chelsea losing the the Carabao Cup final was pretty funny for me. I hope we can take that commanding performance into the Porto game after we stuff the blades. Yeah, I definitely think we will be winning that game. But yeah, it's good to see you in here, Niall. Hope you're okay. Big up, guys. Lovely to see you in here as always. And yeah, like we've said, it's a really good performance from the team. And I did want to get your thoughts on. For you, obviously, there was quite a lot of good performances all around in the team, like Jorginho, Havertz, Saka. But for you, who impressed you the most in the game at the weekend?
So again, sorry, cut off.
Who impressed you the most from
Who
the
impressed
team?
me? I think our defence was brilliant again. The 2 centre halves, I think they work so well together. I think they read each other's game. They're commanding. They're very clever the way they distribute the ball. I thought I thought the midfield. I thought Jorginho was brilliant. I must admit, I was the first one when we first signed him on transfer deadline day. I thought it was a bit very suspect. It was another Chelsea failure, but I think he's really shown that the experience and how he can create. I mean, the Havertz goal was superb. The ball he played in, for the cross. I just think Jorginho impressed me. He really did impress me on Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite hard because there were so many good performances from the team, and for me, it's really good to see Saka scoring again and Jorginho as well. He's done really well, like you said. I'm with you. When we signed him, I was a bit I was okay about it. I thought he could bring us the experience, but I didn't think he would have this much impact on the team. So I did want to ask you a bit about Jorginho, because I know a lot of people have said about him signing a new deal. Would you be happy for him to kind of stay at Arsenal for the future?
Yeah, I think he's a character in the dressing room. I think the players look up to him as well. He's a winner. And I think Arteta obviously saw that in him when he purchased him. He obviously saw there's a character in there to bring to the younger players in the team. Yeah, I'd be happy for him to stay on. I think it's definitely a plus for the squad. And who knows, he may go on to be, do his badges and be part of the backroom staff. I think he's a character. Whether he's going to be used as an impact or whether he's going to start using him if Partey comes back, that's in question. But at the moment, I'd like him to stay on. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think for me, it would be good to see him stay as part of our future, and I definitely want him to sign a new deal. And I completely agree with Phil's comment here. It's a sign of how good we are that it's impossible to pick one player as a possible player of the season. It's so true. I feel like it's hard to pick right now because so many, players have impressed us. Defensively, like you said, are really good. I know like Saliba and Gabriel, it's hard to pick out of them as well who's been the better one, but I definitely think it just shows you how talented and how good the squad is. But I did want to ask you a bit about Havertz because for me at the moment he's doing really well. This season so far, I think he scored about 6 goals. I know there was questions about him because he was a lot of money. 65 million is quite a lot to spend on a player like him. But for you at the moment, do you think he's proving to be a good signing for Arsenal?
He's coming out of his shadow a little bit now. You've got to remember he was in a setup at Chelsea where he was in and out. Were they utilising him properly? Probably not. He had his time. He had his moments at Chelsea. I feel that, obviously scoring a European winning goal. There's a player there, and Arteta obviously sees the player that's in him. I think he's showing a lot of class, the way he drifts in and out of games, the way he goes in. I think he's very clever in the way he moves into the box. I just think his overall play, although people say, what does he do? What work does he put in? He does a lot of off the ball stuff where he takes players away and it gives opportunities to Martinelli and obviously to Saka. And he's just a very good player at reading the game. 60 million, well, that's the song, isn't it? Everyone knows the song. I think it's money that, unfortunately, that's what you pay. And I think we've got to blame teams like Chelsea and Man City and people like that for the prices that are, extortionate. Is he worth 60 million? Who knows? But it's very easy to start putting a price tag and starting having a go at the price tag. But at the moment, I think Havertz is showing his class. I think that Arteta is hopefully finding the player that's there.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, with Havertz, I feel like it did take me a while to kind of warm up to him because originally, I wasn't sure when we signed him if he would be the right player. But I feel like for me, it's really good to see that he's growing in confidence. He's starting to score a lot of goals, and I feel like his performances as well. He's very, he impacts his team a lot. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing how many goals he can get this season. I think it'll be really interesting to see that. And Bukayo Saka as well. For me, I feel like since the buy, he's just really grown in confidence. And now at the moment, he's scored about 13 goals so far this season, and I just think he's doing really well. For you, just talk to me a bit about how he's performing and how many goals you think he'll get at the end of the season.
Saka, he's listen, he's a star boy, isn't he? I mean, you're quite right, Soph, when you say that. I think the Dubai trip done the whole squad good. It looks like it revitalised and recharged the batteries. Arteta obviously they're clever. These people, they know they need a break. And I've been saying for quite a while that I think Saka needs a break, and obviously that came at the right time. He's an unbelievable player. He's just. I never understand how he'd go down injured, Saka, and he just gets back up. There's no complaining. He smiles. He gets on with it. he is just such a class act. Whether that continues, which I'm sure it will, he's very down to earth, and I just feel he's just an amazing character. I think goals will start coming more and more with him because I think you can see he's really involved in the game a lot more now. He's cutting inside. The goal he scored on Saturday was good. It was brilliant. I don't know how many goals is he on at the moment, Saka.
I think it might be 13 in the Premier League.
Yeah. It's hard to say, isn't it? At the moment, goals are going all over the place in the team, so that's the positive side. But listen, if you get 25, who knows? There's no stopping him. As long as the team's performing. I think a lot of this, Sophie, is based on confidence. I think every team plays with confidence. If you're on a roll, then I think every team plays with confidence. And at the moment, we seem to be having that confidence. So I love Saka. I think he's a gentleman, a brilliant player.
Yeah, definitely, he definitely is, and I know a lot of our players before not the international break, the break before Dubai. I just felt like all of our players just didn't have confidence all at once, and we just we really struggled to score. And now I feel like all the players now have that confidence, and I think it just shows you because it's not just one player that scores, and we are seeing different players that are scoring, and I think that's really good as well. And I did want to speak about Kiwior because for me, like I know a lot of people have been a bit critical of him coming in, whether or not he's at the level of, the Saliba, Gabriel, and if he can do the job that he needs to do. But for me, I feel like he's really stepped up and he's improving every game. But how do you feel about him at the moment?
I like Kiwior, so I think it's another Ben White, isn't it? Ben White was a centre half, and Arteta's moulded him into an amazing fullback or right back. He's a clever footballer, Kiwior. He's an international footballer, so when you question these players, there's obviously other people see the intelligence of them, and I like Kiwior. I think he's growing into that position. Whether he'll stay there, who knows? He's a centre half at the end of the day. But I think he was very clear. The last couple of games, he's been very clever the way he's played his football, and I think that's obviously due down to how Arteta tactically wants him to play. At first, he was a little bit slow, and he was getting caught out of position a few times. But I think again, he's showing signs that he's very, very mature. Problem with a lot of these players is whether you can hold on to them because it's all about winning things at the end of the day and progressing. People want to see results and players want to see results. So, yeah, let's hope, please God, that we can this season we can achieve something for the. I think Kiwior is a vital part of the squad. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like him. I think he's really helping us, especially with Zinchenko being out, he's able to come in and help us a lot. So I feel hopeful that he can obviously really help us. I just wanted to answer a few questions. Phil says, Jesus on the bench or start when he returns. What do you think? Would you start Jesus or?
Good question. I knew that was going to be coming. Everyone loves Jesus. I think he's a fabulous player. He's a great squad team player. Does a lot of off the ball work. Brings players out. Drifts them. Would I start him for the? I suppose we're talking about Sheffield United game. I think I probably would against Sheffield United. Maybe I'll bring him in and maybe drop Havertz down to the bench just for a break. Bringing Jesus back into the frame. It's the sort of game he can thrive on. Jesus against Sheffield United. I wouldn't say it's an easy game, but it's an easier game to come back. And he's been out for a little while now, so I'd imagine it will help to ease him back in. And I personally would, yes, I'd bring him in for the Sheffield United game. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would say definitely. I think for me, I feel like we've really kind of missed. I know in the Champions League, we've obviously against Porto, we didn't have a good game, but otherwise, we have been good to score goals, and I think it'd be really good to bring him in. But yeah, I think Arteta would probably bring him off the bench because he's been out. But I would personally like to see him play. I think it would be good to see that happen. And I did want to.
Sorry, there's also the fact of not changing a winning team. So that you have to think that maybe it doesn't want to disturb the team, let it keep going. But I always believe in maybe trying to rest a few vital players in the team, and but Arteta's he's got his own feelings, and we trust him. So yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because I think Arteta, has a lot of trust in certain players, and he does. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see that lineup, but I don't really see him playing. But it'll be interesting to see, like I've said. And talking on the league, I did want to mention because we're getting near the end now. We've obviously got a lot of games to go, obviously. But for me, I think when we play Man City, that will kind of decide it for me, because if we win against Man City, obviously that'll be incredible, and I will feel like we can win the league. But for you, is there any games, including that one, that will decide who can win the league?
City could be the vital cog, couldn't it? Really. Obviously, they're a team that's got everything. As you say, I feel we can win at their ground. It's not impossible at all. On our day we can play. It will be an interesting game at City. Do I think that will be the turning point? More likely, if we've won, if we progress up until the City game, then I think that will be a nail biter. Yeah, and obviously seeing where they're going to be as well when the game comes up. But I just think generally, it probably will be a vital cog to win that game. The confidence will be sky high if we won that game. And I just think it's a game of wits, isn't it? Man City Arsenal. I mean, it's two great managers, potentially a great manager with Arteta, and it's bashing their wits at each other. Really, it'd be interesting. Not a one for the faint-hearted, that game.
It really is going to be stressful for me. Like Phil said here, 10 games left. Having beaten City, Newcastle, Liverpool, I think we're in a better position to finish first this season. I think for me, I kind of like it that we're kind of behind. And last season, we were top for so long, 10 points ahead of Man City, and then it just kind of fell apart a bit. So I kind of like the position we are at now, because I do feel like we're underdogs. People aren't really expecting us to win it. I know Arsenal fans, we're still positive about it. But I know the media obviously aren't really thinking we will. I know they probably think it's Man City or Liverpool. But I do think if we lose the game against Man City, that for me, I'll probably think, I'm not sure we can do it now. But I always believe until you can't do it. So I think it's really important that we do keep believing, because it really is getting exciting. We're getting really close. And I know Liverpool, Man City as well, they've got some interesting fixtures. But out of us, Man City and Liverpool, in the last 10 games, who would you say has a more difficult run?
I think our run's pretty straightforward, really, as runs go. Apart from City, I think we've done the main hardcore games. I'd like to think we've got the easier run in, and I'm quite happy, like you say, to be fighting, and not being on top and having to be there. I actually prefer it. Last year, I thought, as amazing as we were, I think we would maybe we got too complacent, and I just thought, that maybe towards the end they ran out of steam and squad players. So I think out of the two, Man City, I think Liverpool got quite a tough run in. The problem is everyone's seeing it as Klopp's last season, so it's a fairy tale ending as far as a lot of people can see, especially on Sky Sports. That's another subject. But yeah, it's I feel they've got quite a tough run in. But when a team's on a roll, Soph, and they're winning games, then every game seems to, you just carry on and on. And unfortunately, Man City have got that already, the history of knowing how to compete with it. Whether they falter is another thing. But we'll see. But for me, Liverpool.
It is tough to kind of figure that out, because I know we've still got to play Spurs and United, and I do think for me, the game against Man City is what I'm looking at, and it's going to be, definitely interesting in that game. I know the Spurs away one, it'll be really interesting. Man United as well, but those are games for me we should be winning if we're, competing for the league. I know the Man City one is going to be a really tough one, but I know we did beat them at our ground this season, so I feel like we've really got to, use that as our confidence. And I think, like I said, if we beat Man City, like the team will be like over the moon. And the energy around the club would be like out of this world for me. It'd be lovely. Hi Sam, lovely to see you. Hi, we have got Chelsea before Man City. Yes, Chelsea not doing well, but that game will be difficult for us. Yeah, the Chelsea one's interesting. I know that this season they're not really doing that well. I know they got to a final, and I really expect us to beat them. What about you? Do you think it should be? Yeah.
After watching, I had a glance at the. I watched the Carling Cup final yesterday, and Chelsea looked very ordinary. Liverpool didn't have a full team out. I just think that they're a load of players overpriced, not being managed in the way that I thought Pochettino would have managed them. Maybe it's characters in there that are too much for him. I don't know. He's a good manager, Pochettino, but it seems to be, it's his first season with there. So maybe you can't judge him on that, but I can't tell you how happy I am that we didn't get Caicedo and we got Declan Rice. That was the bargain for me of the season, getting Declan Rice. And Caicedo, as good as he is, and I just think it hasn't got the energy, it hasn't got the knowledge that Rice has got. And I just think Chelsea, they're very ordinary to me. No, I think we can beat them. I think, yes, it's another little hurdle, but at the end of the day, we should be turning Chelsea over, really.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. And Phil says, if we are one of the best teams in the best league in the world, no one's standing out in Europe at the moment. No reason why we shouldn't close in the Champions League. Yeah. And I did want to kind of speak about the Champions League. For me, I've said, I expect us to probably get to the quarterfinals. For me, the semi-finals would be I'd love that, because I know it's our first season back, and I don't realistically expect us to win it in our first season back, and I probably don't think we have the squad to do it at this moment in time. I think next season we have good potential if we bring, a few more signings in. But for you, Arsenal haven't been in the Champions League for a while. What have you made of Arsenal so far in it, and how far do you think we'll go?
I think we've been out. I think we've been okay until the Porto game. I thought we've played the right game. We've produced results and done as well as we could do. I think the Porto game was a bit of a blip. I think we didn't turn up. We tended to slow the game down. The referee didn't help in the game. I thought he was stop, start, that killed the game a lot. I thought I think we couldn't get going. Obviously, the first when Rice got booked for the first couple of minutes, I think that stopped him from getting involved a bit more. It obviously slowed him down in the way he was playing. I just think we weren't really at the game. I think with the crowd behind us and the second leg at the Emirates, then I think we're bang on. I think we should do them at the Emirates. I think it would be too. I think we've done a past history when we played Porto. We've always managed to bring it back to the Emirates and beat them. So. Let's hope that it's going to continue. I just feel that the momentum's got to keep going. Hopefully, by the time we do the second leg, we should be still up there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the second leg, and let's hope it could be only good things. And how good would it be to be at Wembley for the final? Oh my God, that is just that is only as I'm based in London anyway, so to be at Wembley and
I don't worry.
You hear me?
No, you kind of went off then. What did you say?
Okay.
Don't worry. I can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know.
Don't worry about it, honestly. What were you saying there about Wembley? I know you were talking about that.
Yeah, no, I was just saying how amazing it would be as a Londoner, as an Arsenal fan, for me to be appearing in the Champions League final this year would be be amazing. After the last time I actually had to suffer in the 2006 final by being there, that wasn't the best experience. Unfortunately, we could have won that as well. But yeah, it would be amazing to be in the final. So absolutely.
Yeah, it would be incredible for me to see that, especially at Wembley. I know we do really good at Wembley as well. So, yeah, I think it is possible that we can get to a final. So I feel like it's really good to kind of stay positive about it all. And I think when we go to the Emirates, I do think we'll win in the Porto game. I just don't think we were probably ready for that game away. I think it's always difficult in the Champions League, the away games as well. And like you said, Declan Rice getting the yellow early on, he didn't want to risk getting the red. So he probably, couldn't, do too much after that. But I'm just really looking forward to it. And Phil says, I shall be keeping everything crossed I can get a ticket for the final in the season's ticket ballot. It's going to be hard getting tickets for that, honestly.
Yeah, it's hard enough getting home game tickets, let alone for a Champions League final. But yeah, let's dream about it when we're there. But yeah, it will be. It won't be the easiest getting tickets. But listen, just the whole euphoria of being involved in the Champions League final and being, even if you don't get a ticket, it's amazing to be there, to be within the surroundings of Wembley. In the Champions League final would be absolutely great. So yeah, I would look forward to the atmosphere the whole day anyway. So it is what it is, really.
Yeah, I am how it will go. And on the flip side of things, I did want to ask you, this season, as much as we possibly could win the league, and, if we got to a final, if we won it hypothetically, we can win stuff at the end of the season. But, like, looking back, obviously, if we didn't win anything this season, because that also could happen, because we obviously are catching Liverpool up, and I know in the Champions League, there's some good teams there. Last season as well, we weren't able to win anything, and I was hoping this season we can. But if we weren't able to get across the line this season, how would you feel regarding Arteta? Regarding, how would you reflect on it?
Um, I wouldn't have any qualms about keeping him on. I've got a lot of trust in him. I think he's turned the club around. I think, when you look back on what the state the club was in prior to Arteta coming, I thought he was just, everyone had their views on him. Everyone thought it was a bit of a mistake not getting the name in. But it's a project that he's dedicated to the whole Arsenal club. His dedication to Arsenal is just phenomenal. I no qualms about him continue. If we don't win anything, sadly, then we have to go again. And you have to. The problem is nowadays, Soph, is that there's no time for managers, and you have the supporters, you have the fans getting on the back of the club. It's something that's very hard for a manager to do. I just think Arteta, I think his whole energy, his enthusiasm for the club on the touchline when you watch him, he's dedicated to the whole project, and I'm fully behind him. I know there's a lot of supporters that on social media that straight away get on his back or get on managers' backs, but I think to me that's pretty sad, really. You've got to give especially he still hasn't spent the money that we desire, but he's built a team for this season that's incredible. And to be fighting at the top is great. We have to just touch a little bit with the centre forward and maybe another midfielder, but that's for the summer.
Yeah, I agree. I know a lot of people have questions like Arteta at the end of the season if he doesn't win anything, because I know we have gone a few seasons without silverware, and I feel like, I'm still hopeful we can win something this season. And if we don't, I still feel like next season as well will be massive for us. I think next season, as long as we bring in the right players, I know for us it's going to be very important to bring in a striker, because I've said that for a while. I know the midfield with Partey, will he go? So I feel like we have got a lot of work to do, but I do feel quite optimistic about our future. And I just feel like, I know we've had a few difficult seasons for Arteta in the past, but to see where we were to where we are now is really incredible. And the atmosphere the team have now and at the games, it's really incredible. We've got this great connection with the players, and I just feel like we're in a really good place at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, I think that squad-wise, I think you can see the enjoyment the players have playing with each other. They're growing together. They're being, they're so together as a team. There's no big names that are taking everything away from other players. We've got no Aubameyangs, you've got no Lacazettes, you've got no who's the Frenchman that with all the hair. I can't remember his name now. But yeah, players that were really running the dressing room. It's no longer happens now. Arteta's made everyone on the same level, and that's, you can only commend the man.
Yeah, I agree. I can see the positivity in the comments here about Arteta and Eddie are doing well, and we'll go again next season. That's very true. And like Phil said, if we do finish second or third, we'll just have to go again next season. And I think we've had, a few injuries that could have made a difference this season, but I'm just happy with how we are at the moment. I think we're doing really well. And I did want to read out some questions that I was sent on Instagram as well. And this one for me is obviously not a nice question, and I already know my answer, so I'm going to ask you first. Someone has asked me, would you take winning the Premier League and Champions League, but we have to sell Saka in the summer?
Is that from you, that question, personally?
No, someone else has asked me that online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would I take winning the Champions League or
and
selling
the Premier
Saka?
League, but we have to sell Saka?
That's a difficult question. I mean, listen, Saka's part of the whole youth setup. Incredible player, come through the youth. Probably not. No.
I couldn't sell Saka. I just couldn't, even if it meant us winning the league or the Champions League. I just couldn't imagine him not being part of our future. I couldn't.
No, it's a very difficult question. A good question. I always go with players that are loyalty, and that, I'm old school with that. I've grew up with players that had loyalty to the club. Tony Adams, players like that. So yeah, I just think that it'd be a kick in the teeth, because it's you can't imagine him playing for another team at the moment, can you? Maybe it will happen one day, but no, not at the moment. No.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think for me, I just couldn't imagine him ever playing for a different team, even though, like Smith Rowe, I felt like I couldn't ever imagine him playing for another team. But then, now I probably could with how things are going. I know he gets injured a lot as well. But yeah, Saka definitely is Mr. Arsenal. I couldn't really ever go through that, really. And I did want to answer another question. What I have been sent as well is about when Partey is back, do you think Arteta will use him and Declan Rice in the same team?
I think clearly he won't come back straight into the team. I think he'd be an impact substitute. There's no doubting Partey's a quality player. Such a shame that he's been out for such a long time with injuries. I think he's a great player, and he does the work of what a lot of players can just do one job. He does two jobs: his distribution, his defending. He's a quality midfielder. I don't think he will bring him back in. Not to begin with, no. I don't think that's what Arteta does. But who knows? It's handy to have him in the running anyway. Undoubtedly, if he can stay fit for at least 3 or 4 games at least, then I think that's a great plus to have in your team. Him and obviously, I don't know if you're going to ask about Timber, but to have those players of that quality back for the running is brilliant.
Yeah, I know. For me, I feel like I completely agree with Partey. I do think it would be hard to replace him because he's such a incredible player on the pitch. He really improves us, but I also get that the amount of time he gets injured for me is ridiculous. He'll play 2 or 3 games, he gets injured. It is really difficult. I know he can't help that, and that's just how his body deals with playing football. But like Phil said, he's probably a squad player at the moment because we can't really afford, I mean, I don't know how much he would be worth now or who we would sell him to, but I'm sure Arteta should realise that he's probably not going to be fit enough to play for a whole season. Like, I don't mind a player being injured a little bit, but for me, he gets injured like far too much. So I would be open to selling him in the summer, but like I've
Yeah,
said, I don't
yeah.
really know how much money we'd get for him now.
No, listen, we wouldn't believe we'd be saying that when we first came, we was like, it was an amazing signing. But you're 100% right. He's a very injury prone player. You can't rely on your team to have, in and out, and it's not viable for the squad and not viable for the team. So I just think that, I think he needs to have a look at him. Maybe he will move on Partey, but there's players obviously that will come in the summer that are younger, same sort of quality. But it's a difficult one. But for this, just hope for this season we can take advantage of him trying to at least stay fit.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've really got to hope when he comes back, he can, manage to play quite a few games. I mean, I don't know when he will be back. I know Timber as well probably will play a few games before the end of the season. So it is obviously good that we are seeing a few more players come back. And Phil has said, would you rather spend big on party replacement or striker in the summer? That is a good question. Honestly, I'm mixed because for me, like I've said for like the longest time, we need a striker. But then, as well, if Declan Rice got injured at the moment, we would really struggle. I feel like our team, like it's amazing, but I feel like we're one injury from like a massive, problem. So I don't know really. It is tough.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. I think, listen, Declan Rice is just a whole cog in this team now, isn't he? Everything goes through Declan, and to lose him in the midfield for an element of games would be a nightmare. Absolutely. Would I go for a midfielder, a centre forward? I'd like to see a prolific goal scorer at Arsenal. I really would. I'd like to see. I don't know whether Ivan Toney's the answer. Osimhen, there's a few there. Shame we can't get Mbappe, but I think that's probably have to set the ground to get him. But yeah, listen, I'd like to see a prolific goal scorer. I don't think we've had one for a number of years. Someone who's there, who leads the line, and puts the ball in there, because I think numerous occasions this season we could have, smashed few teams, and we just haven't had the finishing power. So I'd like to see a centre forward.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think for me, if we had that, it would make us so much, it would improve so much. I know that recently we have been okay without having one, and I know in the Porto game it kind of made me realise if we had that, we needed that moment of magic in that game for me, and I feel like having a striker would help me. I mean, I don't know who I'd bring in as a striker. I know I personally like Ivan Toney. Ollie Watkins as well has done good. But for you, striker-wise, is there anyone in mind that you'd like to have at Arsenal?
Centre forward wise,
Yeah.
Do you know what? Ivan Toney, as good as he is, he's 27. Listen, it's not old, but you need the selling on price as well. If you think about the value of a player, I think he's a decent centre forward. Ivan Toney, I like him, and he knows what the goal is. I think out of him or Osimhen, I think I'd go for Osimhen, because I think every player. Everyone says about having the experience of the Premiership, and there's no doubting Tony knows the Premiership. But you sometimes you have to think out of the box sometimes, and I think that this chap looks good. He looks fast. He's intelligent, and he's frightening to watch as well. He can play his turns, and he's robust. So I'd like to see him in the summer. Whether it happens is another thing, but yeah, that's one player I'd like to see.
Yeah, I would really want to see that happen. I know Arsenal obviously did spend a lot of money on Havertz, and I think now, like, he's obviously done really well. But at the time, I was thinking maybe we could have spent money for him, as a striker. But I think at the moment this season, I feel like with what we have, I feel like, we probably do have enough for what we have. I know it depends on the injuries because, like I mentioned, if like a Declan Rice got injured or if a, Saliba or Gabriel or a Saka got injured, I feel like it would make it a lot more harder for us competing in the league, in the Champions League. But yeah, I think for me this season it will be interesting to see how that goes. Since teams stopped playing too up front, there has been a lack of decent strikers. I think at the moment it's hard to kind of find the strikers in the market, but for me, I think Ivan Toney has been the one that I quite like. I knew he wouldn't really come to us in January because I know that's when he started, just coming back. So I didn't think he would, rush to play, rush to us. But I definitely feel like in the summer, he probably would want to come. So I'll be definitely interested to see what happens with that. And I've really enjoyed chatting with you today, Andy, and it's been so much fun, and I appreciate all of you that have watched this as well. But Andy, do you want to just let people know where they can give you a follow on social media?
Yeah, I'm not a massive social media on YouTube or anything like that, but you can find me on X at Andy Raven 8, and that's where I'm at. So yeah, that'd be great. People want to follow and have views with me, that's fine. So yeah, no, it's been great so far. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for having me on your show. And yeah, here's to more to come.
Yeah, I'll definitely I really enjoyed it, and please give Andy a follow. And yeah, I've had a wonderful time. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching us. Please do hit the like button. Please do subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video.
See you. Bye.